Hi, my name is Mrs. Arrowsmith. I teach U.S. History at West Ranch High School, and thank you for taking the time to watch this, and thank you for letting me work with your students every couple of days as we learn U.S. history together. Let me share my screen so we can look at some things together. So the day before school started, I used Infinite Campus to email blast all the parents in the class. And so you may have already seen this. I'm not quite sure that it worked properly because I think some of you haven't seen this yet, but since most of you have, I'm going to go through it very, very quickly. And there's a link on the website to this syllabus. So I've been teaching history in the district this is my 31st year, but technically I've been in the district since 1978 when I was a student at Sierra Vista Junior High School. I've lived in Santa Clara since 1977. My bachelor's degree and master's degree are both in history. You can pause this video at any time and slow down on these slides. This is a list of goals I have for the students this semester to empower a community of learners who do all of these 5 things. So here's what we're going to study. Fall semester, early national period, Reconstruction. We're already almost done with Reconstruction. And then we get into the depth of the course, things they haven't learned about yet. Gilded Age and Progressive Era, Expansionism, World War I, 20s, Great Depression, New Deal, and we will close the semester with World War II. Along the way, we'll do a lot of historical thinking skills like contextualization, sourcing, asking questions, and we'll look at change over time, connecting the past and the present, all kinds of historical thinking skills. The 4 C's have to do with Common Core, and they're listed there. CLIC is the history framework that California adopted in 2016, and it's content, but it's also literacy, inquiry, and civics. Students' grades will reflect progress on mastering content and historical literacy skills communicated in various ways. And so you'll notice that in Infinite Campus, I think almost everything they have in there still is do not calculate into grade because we're still practicing. I'm just getting to know your students and what they can do. And it's important to score practice, but it's also important to grade what they've mastered. And that doesn't include averaging in practice. So it's important to see their practice, but not average it in. Also, we've been struggling with some of the listening stuff with Edpuzzle, so we're trying some new listening strategies. Standard grading scale. Professionalism, your students haven't had a week-long project yet. They'll start that the first week we do the Gilded Age Progressive Era, which is next week, or the week of where we cross over from August to September. And the professionalism score is 2 points for turning it in complete and on time and 0 for not. And so that means I do take late work. We do check-ins every morning, and when we go to blended and they're not in the class, if they're not in the classroom or the days they're not in the classroom, I'll be posting other check-ins. We do 1 slow chat a week, and I'll show you what that looks like on Google Classroom. It's in the stream. There's 1 of those a week. I post it Sunday. They have until Friday to contribute. So participation, it's the check-ins, the slow chat, in-class activities, things like that, discussions, and that's part of their participation score. So their grade is completion and mastery and comprehension. So the calendar that we follow when we're in Google Meet is there's live instruction, sometimes there's small group collaboration or discussion, individual work or note-taking, and then always, always, always time for questions. And then sometimes assessments, we haven't had any assessments yet. Attendance policy, students must be present and visible in the class to be considered present. And it says tardies will be marked as usual. Once we get the hang of all of this, the 5-minute passing period was really pretty hectic. So the district changed it to 10, and so hopefully that will help. So we're not just going, from 1 to 1 to 1. And hopefully that will help with tardies. Your students have been really great about this. They're just really being great. Here's our netiquette. Be on time as best you can. Remain in the room for the entire period. Sometimes when I'm ending class, there's a couple of screens just sitting there, blank, dark, and it seems as if the student has maybe stepped away. So please remind them to stay in class the entire period until we've all said goodbye to each other. Remain muted unless asking a question. Students are very, very good about that. Keeping cameras on just during direct instruction. When we step away to do individual work, like if we're going to step away and say we're going to work on this for 20 minutes, I always invite the students to turn their cameras off if they choose to. Almost all of them do. And then 20 minutes later, I say, okay, let's go ahead and bring it back, and everyone turns their camera back on, and we're back together doing whole group work. It really helps me when I can see them and I can see the nods and the smiles, or I can see the quizzical expressions, and that helps me gauge what I need to do next. Use the chat responsibly and follow basic rules of consent. Do not record, photograph, or post content that features other people without their permission. And of course, your students have been really great with being prepared, patient, and positive. Academic integrity is still in place. To my way of thinking, much of what people call cheating is really just sloppy academic habits and not knowing when to cite and how to cite, rather than overt plagiarism. So those are some things we're going to work on this semester. Here's their book. The early part of the nation's history in the book, it's not that great. So we're not using it that much yet. As we get into the 20th century, the book improves a lot. So right now I'm just giving them pages for reference if they need it. We'll have assignments out of the book as we progress through the semester. But if you haven't seen them in their book yet, that's okay. We haven't been using it yet. We do a lot of primary sources and secondary sources in class. And we do a lot of that in class. I send them the link in the chat and we work on it together. And some things they keep and some things they turn into Google Classroom. Our launching point for everything is Google Classroom, and we're using these additional tools. We've been struggling, like I said, with Edpuzzle, so I'm trying different ways to get video content across, and so we'll find something else. Here are roles and responsibilities. I will design the lessons, deliver the lessons, communicate content, answer questions, both live and online. I will design the assessments, provide feedback, and answer questions about the assessments and about content. I will evaluate student work and assign scores and grades. As parents, you're going to monitor and encourage students to contact me if they need anything, and then communicate with me or the counselors if necessary. And the students are going to show up, join in, ask questions, communicate, complete, try, and grow. So that's that. Let's take a look at the signature page. If this looks familiar and you did it, you're fine. If that email that I sent via Infinite Campus didn't work and this doesn't look familiar, just send me an email, I'll send it out to you. This is a checklist the students get every week. I give it to them as an assignment and they turn it in, and it does not matter what it looks like when they turn it in. This is just a checklist where they can just drag the X's over to indicate what they've done. It's a tool to help them. If they turn it in on Friday and it looks not at all different than when I gave it to them on Monday, totally fine. It's an optional tool. Here's their calendar. I'm going to change it out every month. So, and it's very general. So on the side are some of our essential questions for the unit and just some different topics. They haven't had any specific homework, like bigger projects to do, so none of that is on here yet, but when they have something big that's due, it'll be highlighted, okay? So that's that. Our website is really for, so here's home. And our class website really is for parents rather than students. Students use Google Classroom. So there's a place here where you can, the old, hey, what'd you do today? Nothing, because that's my kids too. Some other questions to ask. Other than that, you can revisit the syllabus there. And I wanted to show you really quickly what Google Classroom looks like. So here's the stream. The stream is where I post the link to our Zoom meetings every day. And I post them like 5 minutes before class starts. The other thing that you'll see here is our remind code. And then our link to, there's one up here, our link to the weekly slow chat. In Classroom, now my view is different from the student's view. I just wanted to show you this. The apple means we do it together in class. The home means they do it for homework on their own. So I hope that was helpful. Again, thank you for everything you're doing to support your student as they learn this semester. And thank you for all you're doing to support education.